Good afternoon, everyone. RJ here, back in effect. Again, another version of Walker Roundtable. Double dose. Double dose. So, we're gonna go around and we're gonna introduce ourselves as usual. We're having a really pleasant afternoon, getting a lot of things going and a lot of things done. So, take it away, Scoosh.
Jeff Walker Sr., Papa J, it's Wild Card Weekend.
All right.
Jeffrey Jr., Bobby, go pack. And Justin,
Oh, I'm sorry. And I'm Justin, the youngest. Go
Let's
Pack Go.
well,
Get in.
Justin
let's
visualizing a Packer win today. That's
well,
all.
and let's do it like this. Da-na-na, da-na-na-na. Go,
Go
Pack,
Go
pack,
Pack
go!
go,
Go.
Da-na-na, da-na-na-na. Go,
go
Go
Pack,
Pack
pack,
go!
Go.
go,
And I want everybody to subscribe and share, and subscribe and share, and da-na-na, da-na-na-na. Go,
go
Pack!
pack. Even if you're not Packer fans,
Subscribe,
Exactly.
still
share,
subscribe.
subscribe. So we got
You're a
Scoosh.
Bear fan.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and we
Your
got
Uncle Cleo.
yeah. Yeah, it's
Uh,
over. And you know what?
uh,
Even though Justin's nickname is Bear, he's still a Packer fan. So Scoosh,
not
Boo,
today.
Bear, Bear. We're not rooting for the Bears. Your name is Bear. Bear, what's the topics for today? Go Pack.
So the topic is, what are your favorite college memories? So a nostalgic discussion today. What are some of your favorite memories from college?
Okay.
Mm.
You want to
Can
kick
I,
it off?
you know
Go
what?
ahead
I'll
and kick
start.
it off, Ryan.
I'll start. I remember, last week for me was kind of a hard week. It was a good week because I had some good realizations and I think I had some breakthroughs with the Most High God in prayer. But I had a lot of things that were on me, stressing me, and things that I was trying to get done, and schedule was thrown off, and pressures from just being a father to just everything, right? And I kind of, had to talk with my brothers, talk with my father, just kind of put some things into perspective. But one thing I remember about college is, and I think this is how I'm trying to live my life now, because I think that, we worry a lot as adults. As black men, we have a lot of burdens on us, in our families, as fathers, with our careers, and it's a lot of responsibility. I mean, we come from a line of kings, right? The original peoples on this earth. So with that comes a lot, right? So that's just natural, right? I mean, it's spiritual and it's natural, and it's a lot of, we got to know our history to understand why we have these burdens, why we're so strong. But at the same time, we're only human. And I think that the wisdom that comes behind that is not stressing. And in college, the nostalgic memory, I remember having $300 in the bank, $500 in the bank. And, that's all the money I had. It's all the money I had. I didn't have any investments. I didn't have any money squirreled away in a mattress. And I remember having $500 and I was so happy. My little financial aid check paid for whatever quarter of dorm rent that I had to pay. And I had my little, $200 every 2 week job that give me some little walking around money, right? And I remember life, and I remember life being so simple. Like that was such a happy period for me. I remember that I was like a sophomore, maybe junior, and I had, had my little girlfriend and had my class. I was just getting the hang of college, and I got into this real good groove of my study habits. Um, and life were simple, and I think that's something I'm trying to simplify. And life is a lot more dynamic, right? I didn't have any debt. Now, I didn't owe anybody any money. Now, I mean, you get older, you have to incur debt to live life. But it was such a simple time, right? It was such a simple time. And I remember I had this old raggedy hoopty, and the thing was paid off. I paid for it cash. And that thing lasted like 7 years, Car lasted me for a long time, little old Pontiac. Um, But that was like that, I remember back to those moments because even though I really didn't like the university, I was telling Bobby this earlier. I didn't really like the university, I mean, for multiple, cultural reasons. We'll just say that. I did have some good moments in life, like the simplicity of it all. I mean, I had me a nice apartment. I didn't have to worry about a lot of things, and and again, being a part of the people program, that was a blessing because it covered a lot of those expenses and it covered a lot of the scholarship costs, all of the scholarship costs and the tuition costs. And all I had to do was focus on being the only thing I had to do was focus on being a student. And I was able to hop through like and kind of figure out what I wanted to do. So I was able to go from being a political science major to double majoring in economics and business. And it was just a real simple time, and I was able to just key in. I was able to enjoy myself, and that was the thing. Like even though I didn't like the university and I didn't like the climate, it was really cold. On those weekends when I didn't have homework and I was able to really unplug and be in pure relaxation. Like you could just, I didn't have anything to worry about, right? I didn't have anything to worry. I could just sit back, go see a movie. Back then hockey games were pretty cheap, so we go see a hockey game or go to dinner. You got all little takeout on State Street. That was one of the things. So I think the simplicity of it all, of being young and not having a whole lot of responsibility. I wasn't super, dependent on my parents, but I appreciate y'all, daddy and mama, for being there and being a good foundation for us as I was trying to like kind of figure life out. And I could, if I get into a jam, I could always just, run home and or get away from, I could get away from it and thinking about the holidays. So it was just such a simple time, where you thinking that like, all I had was, a couple $100 to my name and I was happy, and it was proof that, like materialistic like idealisms of life aren't the most important, because that was the happiest, like I was the happiest then probably in my life, not being on the beach, not being in just in a place that I really didn't like, right? I didn't really like the university, but my spirit was happy because it was just the simplicity of life, right? I didn't have to, I mean, I had some cold cuts in the refrigerator, a roasted chicken, and some bread, maybe a couple of pizzas, and we had the commons to go eat, you know what I mean? And even when I was living off of campus and I had my own apartment, I still would go to the commons and eat. It was open to students. I go to the Golden Commons and just grab me a meal. Never would cook. I didn't have to worry about anything. So, that's the biggest nostalgia that I had. And now I'm trying to take that, bring that back. And life may not be as simple, right? It's a lot more complex, and I'm a lot more complex and a lot I've grown a lot and evolved as a man, but I'm trying to take that simplicity, that childlike simplicity, into um, now, almost pushing 40, and have that be kind of a foundation and blueprint for my life. So there you go.
Yeah, I'll go next. Um, I say the best memory from college for me was the social aspect. Like Ryan said, he didn't necessarily enjoy college based on a cultural aspect. I enjoyed college based on a social aspect because of the fact that culture kind of forced the black students to kind of like find each other. And it was because of that, I was always, especially during my freshman year, like my freshman year was when uh I probably enjoyed partying the most in my life. Like because like every single weekend, like a lot of the folks that I went to high school with came to Madison with me through the people program. And so like we all knew each other. And to me, that was right before, things like smartphones and things like that, like really started to invade like the social climate, to the point where you would go to a party and you would dance with women, and it would you would think nothing of it. It was just a good time for everybody. And now you go to a club, everybody's standing on their, standing around, looking into their phone like they're busy. And I'm like, you're at a club where you're supposed to be dancing and socializing with people, and like now, it's just that same type of feel just isn't there anymore. To the point where if you do go to a club and you do see a guy dancing on a girl, it's almost kind of foreign. It's almost kind of like, oh, that's weird, even though it's not supposed to be weird when you're supposed to be doing that in the club.
Well, yeah,
Um,
it's an overcorrection for social things. A lot of guys don't want. They like, yeah, I don't want no problems, man.
yeah, I mean, like, this was, pre-Me Too and all of that stuff. And so I think a lot of people have developed a lot more social anxiety since then. But before that, you know, during college, you would go to a party and it would be jumping, and it was just one of those things where it was just so carefree, that it was one of the best times, that I enjoyed, partying the most because after college, it really didn't hit the same, and I feel like it's not a well, I don't know how kids, party nowadays to the point where they can enjoy it because I feel like even, I'm seeing even younger and younger now where kids are saying, I don't want to go out no more. I don't want to go to the club. And these kids are like in their early 20s. And so like I feel like this is affecting them to the point where, they're staying home a lot more. And so like, I can say I can appreciate the time that I was able to enjoy that when I was in college because I feel like some kids nowadays just can't because of the social climate that we live in today.
Well, you know what, I'll say this too. I think that it's such a pressurized social environment. Like for anything, like you can get in trouble by, I mean, trying
Giving
to
a compliment,
like you can get in trouble for so many things that I mean, like especially when you're trying to court, right? Because that's the point of being in a social atmosphere. I think that's why you see a lot of men nowadays, like retreating or being very strategic about how they court. I have to be. I mean, I had to be that same way, right? I mean, you have to kind of adjust with the times. Um, and I think that unfortunately, like, in those spaces, you can get in trouble if you try to dance with the woman. You can get in trouble if if it's gleaned a certain way. If you say something, you try to approach them. Unfortunately, right? It's not as free flowing, and I think that that's the pressurized moment where all these overcorrections will happen, and then you have people that can't even interact with each other, or just go to a party and dance, or go to a party and try to ask a woman out, and it gets to, I mean, I mean, and it's a hard thing, it's a hard thing, unfortunately.
yeah. Plus, I feel like music was better back then, but maybe that's just my ears. But
No,
I feel like,
it was,
yeah, I
it
feel like
was.
music was a lot better. Where like it was the music you could dance to it now. Like you go to a club, like you can't really dance to the music that they're playing, and so like a part of me is like, this just doesn't hit the same, and it's not. I don't think it's appealing to go out anymore to the folks that it's supposed to be catered to. Like even the folks that's, like I said, in their early 20s, a lot of them are opting to stay home because it's not the same. But I'm glad that I got to experience it during college because, it was great for me. But
Okay, cool.
Daddy.
Yeah, man, the college experience is something that I'm glad you guys had a chance to experience because, when I was coming up, man, I've been out of college. I graduated college 46 years ago. Holy cow, what a time. And coming where I came from, I was, out of five kids, I got my college degree, I want to say first. Then came your Uncle Kenny, I believe. But he went on to get a master's degree. And then came your Aunt Karen or your Aunt Kathy, then your Aunt Karen, and your Aunt Jerry didn't get a college degree. She got an associate degree. She didn't get a bachelor's degree. But, when I went to school, going to a school in Iowa, what my biggest memory is the relationships I had with my teammates because, we went to predominantly all white college and all the brothers came from Chicago, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, and those are the relationships I still have to this day. I can still call my buddies in Minneapolis. Uncle Cleo's here from Chicago and Houston. And, we have a regular little group of folk that, communicate among each other on the text a lot of times. But those relationships, I look back on those and they were just so special to me, because we had only ourselves on this college campus, right? And we communicated with each other. We had basically the same problems. We were all from basically the same place. And, I remember all of those times when, if we lost a basketball or a football game, it was our floor of brothers, in the residence, that's all the chatter that you would hear. That's all the talk that you would hear, is about the games and stuff like that. So those relationships are real special. When I left college, it's funny, when I left college, I had to come back to summer school in order to graduate.
Mhm.
So when I came back, um, let me preference that. When I left for summer break, I got real sick and I missed the first summer session. And so I had to wait until I get recovered and come back for the second summer session. So I come back for the second summer session. And, just a few brothers were there, and one particular who was my roommate, his name was EJ Riley in summer school. He passed away now, God bless him. But EJ was from California, he's from San Francisco. And he was just this guy that had this dynamic personality that, I mean, he was always smiling, always laughing. He was a real joyful kind of a guy. And so he was my roommate doing college or doing summer school. And so when I came back to summer school, I had one class. It was so boring. It was just horrible. It was a psychology course. My minor is in psychology. So I had to take this one course to graduate. And so we're in this college and we're in this dorm room. It's the middle of summer, no air conditioning. We're sweating our eyes out. The only thing we could do was play backgammon all day long to keep ourselves occupied because we didn't even have a television set. It was one down in the major commons area. And, after I graduated, after I took this course and passed it, what happened is my college professor called me on the phone. He says, Mr. Walker, congratulations, you passed this course. You've graduated college. Congratulations. I said, oh God. He called me about 9 o'clock that night, right? I packed up everything that I had for summer school, which was nothing but a duffel bag, some old blue jeans, a couple shirts, and all this stuff, because I wasn't planning on sticking around. Man, I hugged EJ, kissed him goodbye, flew out that night.
What time? So hold on. So what? All right. Let me get this right. What city were you in?
I was in Sioux City, and I hear your mother talking.
He was in Sioux City. Did you have to go to like? Where did you catch the flight from?
Oh, it was out of Sioux City Airport.
Oh, okay. You could call like a little 10 o'clock at 10 or 11 o'clock
Oh yeah,
flight.
call a cab anytime you want. And so
Oh,
I packed up my bag, I hugged him. I said, I'll see you later, brother. I'm out. And you talking about that type of experience like you had, Ryan, where you just didn't like the college all that
oh
much,
yeah. I didn't like it.
but it was the relationships and people. I really loved them. But man, I hugged him. I got on that flight that same night, got back to Milwaukee, and that was August of 1980. It was one of the coldest nights in Milwaukee, on a December night, and my doorbell rings. I was living with my mother and father. Doorbell rings. I open up the door, and it was EJ Riley. I'm like, man, what the hell are you doing in Milwaukee? his aunt lived down the street from us in Milwaukee.
Hmm.
So he came to stay with me. He actually wanted to stay with me for a couple weeks, I guess, until he, figured out the situation with his aunt. So that's what he did. He stayed with us for a couple weeks. And then he went with his aunt, and then I started working. And shortly after that, he flew, I think, back to San Francisco, or no, he flew back to Sioux City because he had to do another year or so. And so he did his other year in Sioux City at the school, and then he disappeared off the face of the planet. And he had some contacts with your Uncle Cleo, back and forth over the years. And then I don't know how I got the news that he passed away, but he passed away, and he wasn't doing very well when he passed away. But your Uncle Cleo organized a scholarship in his name. It's called the E.J. Riley. It's Ernest James Riley is his name. The E.J. Riley Scholarship out of Sioux City, Morningside University.
Mhm.
And so it's a scholarship that goes to minority students, and
Oh, that's
it
great.
pays for some of the things that they're undertaking in their courses. And so I thought that was a good testament and something special, for him because no one would have recognized him like that, period. When Cleo came up with that, I thought it was just a brilliant idea. But, he played football on scholarship coming out of San Francisco. He did a real good job that way. But just to recognize that brother was one of the memories that I had from college coming out of Sioux City that, I'll never forget that. Um, and again, all of the games that I played in and all of that stuff. I got stories about basketball and all of that kind of stuff. That's for another day, but I just think the relationships I had with those guys, that really solidified something special with me over the years. And I look back on that, when I walk through and go into my weight room here, there's a picture in there of me, and it takes me back to the facility that I played in. It's an action shot. It's actually one of the action shots, when they put in the programs, and it's of me doing a layup or something. And it was something that takes me back. It's really nostalgic. I look at that every time I work out and stuff like that. It describes me. Um, but coming from Milwaukee, going to Sioux City, I had no idea. I had no idea. And basically, man, it was just the campus, class, and the basketball floor for me for 3 years.
Hmm.
And that was a good experience. I say that was a good experience for me. If I had to do it all over again, would I go to that school? I don't know. But I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did because there was no plan for me. There was no plan for me coming out of Milwaukee, even though I was all city, I was all state, I was all area. I had all of these accolades, but still I was injured, and there was no plan for me, even with my parents. There was no plan for me to go to school at all. That was something that, they just never thought about. The way I thought about it with you guys is that you don't finish school until you graduate college. And whatever it took for me to get you through high school and get you through a bachelor's program, that's what I would have done. No, that's what we did, you know, whether it be mortgaging a house, that bonus you get at that job, whatever it had to be to make sure you guys got that college degree is what it was going to take. And I was so proud of all of you guys when you got the acceptance letters, going to school, going to University of Wisconsin. The last to get the acceptance letter was Justin, and I saw that letter yesterday when I was cleaning up photos. It was your acceptance letter to go to Madison. Bobby, on the other hand, had a choice, and he made his choice on a Tuesday. on a Tuesday
He had like a
to
stack
go.
of papers like this with offers.
No, he
That
narrowed it
hurts.
down to two places. It was either Marquette or Wisconsin. And so he made a choice. He was enrolled in both, and they were expecting him at one of the two.
Mm.
So he's sitting at the kitchen. I remember him sitting at the dining room table, and he's making this decision on where to go. And he's up in the air. Should I go to Wisconsin? I looked at him. I said, "Man, you can go to Wisconsin, Big Ten University, or you can stay at home in Milwaukee and go to University of Marquette, which is a big time school too." So he made the choice to go to Wisconsin, but I've never had two offers on the table, and I'm like, I was scrapping just to find a place to go. And
Mhm.
then Ryan was just a shoe in just to go to Wisconsin. I mean, once Bobby got there, Ryan was right behind him,
Well,
was just right behind him.
I don't
And
know if y'all know this though, but I was accepted early. Did you know
yeah,
that?
yeah, I
So
got all
I
you
u-
guys' acceptance letters still
I
to this
got
day.
I got accepted when I was a sophomore. I think Bobby got gave me a reference some kind of way through his chancellor program.
Mhm,
He was a student. I connected them, and then I remember I got a 21 on the ACT as a sophomore, and they
mhm.
gave me a conditional acceptance on my graduation from high school at when I was at Vincent. I had a pretty high GPA. Like I was like one of the top students in the class very quietly, and I remember that that really helped. And I think just like didn't you tell me about the people program, Bobby?
I did tell you
I think
about the
Bobby
people
Yeah.
told
program.
us about the people program. We weren't even aware of that.
Yeah. And you know what? That people program, once you guys got enrolled in it and started off for your first year or so, all my employees, the folks that worked with me, that had kids, that wanted to go to school and stuff like that, I was giving that program to every minority person that wanted to go to school, had kids that were eligible to go to school
Mhm.
and the conditions. I had the actual criteria for that. And I would give them the criteria, the phone numbers, the places to call. You had to write an essay. You had to have a certain GPA, and all that stuff. It was for Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin.
And California was the far.
Yeah.
In California was the other
Yeah.
was the other
So it was a
place.
pretty good program, but I was handing that out left and right, trying to get students to go into that program. But
Hmm.
those are my memories, coming up, my memories include you guys, but man, my experience was a little bit different. Um, going to a small university and playing basketball for them. But man, we had the good times and the bad times too, and fighting weather, fighting all kind of stuff, man. I can remember going into North Dakota, you talking about North Dakota State, South Dakota State, all of these places that just didn't see a brother like me coming up in there. And believe me, they had the dog pound behind the bench.
Mm.
They had the dog pound behind the bench, which is nothing but their football team, who's gonna mess with the football team? They were calling us every name, trying to get us off our game. You name it. It was like I was listening to Kevin Durant the other day talk about that. He said, "Man, I've been called every name in the book. Every time I come to Utah, of
Mm.
all places, man, they were calling me all kind of stuff, all kind. You go to North and South Dakota State University, believe me, it was the same way back in the day, and it could be intimidating, but some of the memories like that I remember. Some of the good times I remember playing ball in Omaha, which your cousin Jason played at the same school, University of Omaha, UNO, and I can remember playing there in front of my Aunt Catherine, your great Aunt Catherine, and her husband. Those are the only folks outside my family that saw me play on the road somewhere else.
Mhm.
That was a good experience, but man, I can go on and on. So, Justin, take it away.
Oh, I already went.
Oh, Bobby, next.
So, okay, I got a lot of 'em. I'll rapid fire. And the first thing that I wanted to say is everybody on this roundtable right now went to school on a scholarship. So that's a blessing. I mean, just
Mhm.
thinking about it, right? Having taken a step back, we all got there, we all got through it, and it was a blessing and a privilege. And it's something to not take for granted, and I'm appreciative of it. I remember that conversation that I had with Daddy
Mhm.
about Marquette and Wisconsin and yeah, I feel like I made a good choice. I had a little bit different type of experience going to school probably than Ryan and Justin because while I was at school, I was thinking about the two of them. Very likely they'll come to the same school. I got to make sure that I do well so that they can see that they've seen it happen with our parents and but so that they could see somebody, their brother doing it. I remember when Ryan got to college and
You
he
remember that
felt
first
like
day?
he was a deer in the
Hey,
headlights.
hey, man. Hey, listen. I love you, brother, and I appreciate you because you helped me. You remember when we went to the bookstore? Oh God, I was
Yeah,
so
he
scared.
had no clue what he was doing. I
It
had
was
to take Ryan to the
crazy. I was
bookstore.
wet behind the ears. I'm like, I don't know what.
He
I
didn't
got my
have a
schedule,
clue.
man. I had my paperwork on.
He didn't have a clue what was going on. So I'm glad that I was there to, you know, uh, experience all of that stuff beforehand. And then when he got there, I was able to share some stuff with him. I'm sure Ryan shared some stuff with Justin.
Oh,
But
when Justin got there, it was easy work because
Justin,
Weren't y'all
I
on
had it
campus?
figured out.
Weren't y'all on
it,
campus? All three
Justin
of
and
y'all at one
Ryan.
time?
No, I
No.
was I was gone by the time Justin got there. But
Okay.
Ryan and Justin, they part of their people being on the people program, they had the opportunity to be there during the summers. So
Yeah.
it was an easier transition, I would imagine, for the two of them versus I wasn't part of the people program, right? I was part of a different scholarship program. And um, I saw that campus on day one of the first semester for the
Oh
first
yeah.
time, right? After, of course, with little visits or whatever, but really being in it, that was the first time. And it was a bit of a shock to the system, right? Going from beyond all the stuff that you guys already talked about, but going from a school where the class sizes might have been like 30, 35 kids to now being one of a couple hundred people in a class, right? It was immediate and it was different, and I had to get over any kind of fear or anxiety right away because then nobody cared. That was the other thing too, is that you get to college, you figure out real quick that you ain't gonna go far if you think that everybody care about what you got going on. Nobody cares about what you got going on. You got to
Right.
care about it for yourself. You got to be an advocate for yourself and do it. And then also realize that you can ask for help. That was something that I had to learn. So I didn't really I think I was able to do well in high school without asking a lot of follow-up questions, right? I just studied, I did what I had to do, I learned, and I took the test, did well. In college, you had to learn deeper, right? And I had to learn things that I had never learned before, computer related stuff, whatever it may have been, going to TAs, teacher assistants, and their office hours and asking for extra help and all of that. So that was something I had to learn pretty quickly. But I think overall, I had a positive experience in college. There were a couple of things that came to mind, specific memories that I want to talk about. I bet all of y'all probably either have heard me talk about this, might have experienced it with me. First thing that I'm thinking about is all of the times that we had to move in and out of that dorm. And Daddy was the only one helping us move
We
in and out
appreciate
of
you,
that dorm.
Pop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
So he had this big old bubble thing on the top of his truck. It was full of everything. And every semester we
The
had to
little
move
burgundy blazer too, with the little
all
98.
of our
We had
stuff.
the avalanche. We had there was four trucks No, let me take that back. There was
Two.
three trucks, three trucks, and no, there was a van. Remember, I had a gray van. I had an Avalanche. I had a Wagoneer Jeep, and I had a Burgundy Blazer.
Burgundy Blazer. Yep.
And your mama had a Grand Am, a little red Grand Am.
Mhm.
Grand Prix, right?
No, it was a
She
Grand
had a
Am.
Grand Prix eventually, but she started with the
Yeah.
Grand.
She
Yep.
she went and I got her the Grand Prix afterwards, but I burned out the Blazer. I think Bobby was in the truck with me when it burned out.
That thing, yeah, you drove it into the ground, but
Yeah.
it
And
was
No,
I
it
was
was
in it.
crazy.
I was in the truck when you burned out the avalanche. You was on I
Yeah.
was on my way to work. You was taking
Yeah.
me to work, and then like Ryan had to pick us up, and we had to get a tow truck to get the avalanche
Yeah.
out.
Oh man. But it was on his last legs, but all those trips back and forth to Madison. I can remember making two trips a day a couple times. But yeah, every semester it was move out, move in, move out, move in. And that went on from when did you go? When did you graduate, Bobby?
2007.
When did you graduate, Justin?
2013.
So from 2007 to 2013. That's how
No,
many
No,
no.
no,
times.
no, no. Before
2004, Bobby would be in college, or
it,
2003.
like 2003
Yeah.
when I first started. Yeah,
Yeah, till when the
Mhm.
end of Justin. So 2003.
2002. Yeah,
Yeah.
So you had a
the
10
fall of
year run of
2000.
moving us in and out.
Oh, Lord.
Sure. Yeah, and that was so I definitely appreciate all of uh those days of back breaking moving. And I lived in the dorm longer than Ryan and Justin. And so
I don't know how
Yeah.
you did it, bro.
I never
I
lived
did.
in a dorm.
I did.
I stayed on Regent Street
Justin had it
off
nice and
Justin
of
moved straight
smooth.
into an apartment the first day of school, didn't he? Like
and I stayed
mess with
there
him.
all my entire college career.
Yeah, I lived in that. I lived in the old school, rambunctious, crazy dorm in the middle, Og Hall in the middle of the campus, right before they tore it down, and I was done because that place was so crazy. And I got me an apartment after that. I don't know how you were able to live in. Well, I guess you were at the quiet dorms on the water, but
No, well, I mean, not that first year. Okay, so let me tell you a couple of quick stories about dorm life. Things that I remember. One is we had a co-ed dorm, right? So the boys were on one side of the hallway, and then the girls were on the other side of the hallway.
Mhm.
So of course, we walk down there to the girls' side every once in a while, and I swear they were way junkier than us. That was something that I didn't expect to see, but man, it was so many junkie girls at that dorm room or at that dorm in Whitty Hall. That's where
Yeah,
I
Whitney.
when
I
I
remember
stayed in
Whitney.
Whitty for the first year. And then the other thing, I don't know if y'all remember, um, I forget the street, but there was a big street party
Mm.
in Wisconsin every year. I
State
can't
Street,
remember.
State
No,
Street.
it wasn't State Street. It was a different street party that happened every year. And one year, this guy that lived there in Whitty on my floor, I forgot his name now. He started drinking early, right? It was a party from like 8 a.m. Right? So
Oh, Mifflin.
Mifflin, yes, yes.
Yeah,
So it was
Mifflin.
a Mifflin
Oh,
street party, right? So
yeah.
he was already drinking at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and and this happened during like I had classes and stuff, right? It wasn't on. I don't feel like I don't remember it being on the weekend. Maybe it was, but I still had. I feel like I was going to class or going to the library, going somewhere, and I remember meeting him seeing him in the elevator. I was going down, and he was about to get in and go up, and he was dressed up as because I don't think this was Halloween because I got a different story for Halloween, but I somehow he was dressed up as Braveheart. He had, he had his whole thing. He had the blue makeup on. He looked like he was out of Braveheart movie, right?
I never mess with that. I used to go hard in college, but I did not fool with Mifflin. He did too much over there. I'm like, man, nah,
Yes, it was. They
I'm
went hard
good.
there. And so I go. I remember going to class and coming back and not thinking about this dude at all. After many hours, say it's like 8 o'clock 8 o'clock at night, and I go to the bathroom. We used to have this big old full length mirror in the bathroom, and this guy in all of his Braveheart clothing and makeup was this close to the mirror. And he was just like this, standing there, hand up on the wall, like as a still as a statue, looking at himself in this mirror. And I look at him, I'm like, man, I don't gotta mess around. I don't know what's going on with him. I gotta pee. Let me go. And I went and used the bathroom. I came out. I walked past and he didn't move. I didn't think nothing of it afterwards. I went to sleep. I swear I woke up in the middle of the night at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning to go use the bathroom. This man was at the mirror, hadn't moved at all, still straight up like this, hand
Looking
up
at
on the
himself?
mirror. Huh?
Was he looking at himself or was he asleep?
I don't know what I feel like he passed out on his feet. He wasn't moving.
It had to
I
be.
don't know what was
He
going.
was he was on something.
I don't
He
know
was on
what was
something.
happening, but
Oh
this man didn't
man,
move for the whole day.
frozen in
He
time.
was just he was just frozen.
Man.
So okay, so that's one memory. The other, um, speaking of dressing up, I remember all of those times on State Street in Madison. We had the Halloween parties, and if anybody has been to Madison, Wisconsin during Halloween, they know it's a big deal, and they also know that it's super cold already. And so I remember having long johns underneath my costume and looking around and seeing all of these people with the skimpiest little costumes and outfits, not looking like they not cold at all. But that was definitely a party and a sight to see on State Street every Halloween in Wisconsin. And folks would come from different parts of the state and other states to
The
come
country.
in and flood that street. It was a big deal.
It was a million people, and we dressed up. I think the only time I dressed up was when we dressed up as gangsters, and we had the zoo suit
Yeah.
outfits.
Yeah,
And
I
it
remember
was
that.
it was funny, and ended up getting kind of cold. It got cold real fast, and then we had to cut it short.
It was cold. I
Yeah.
remember being at Wisconsin, and so I wanted to play football, right? And that's my first love. And I couldn't I couldn't play because I had too many concussions, and I wanted to be able to think and be able to speak, when I was older. So I didn't, even though I could have, I didn't move forward and play football, and that kept me from going to games. I had my dorm was right next to the Camp Randall, and I hated it every Saturday. Hearing from my room, I could hear them announcing the games, and I had to just put my headphones in or go somewhere to the library or whatever because I just hated the fact that I wasn't out there.
Mhm.
I knew I could. I knew I could play. And I remember going to one football game at the very end, just before I graduated with Ryan. And I got out there and I looked and I said, man, I'm bigger than that guy. I'm faster than that guy. I could run that guy over. I should have been out here. And so that was the regret that I had. But at the same time, I know that if I would have gotten hit in the head a couple more times, that wouldn't have been good. So I made the right decision. It was one thing that I know I could have done, and it bothered me my whole time that I was there.
Mhm.
I kind of had that feeling too. Like right before I got to college, I had that major shoulder injury that I had to get that surgery on. And I always wanted to play football for Madison too. But I knew my shoulder, one good hit pops out of place and my shoulder would be no good. And I had that same thing too. Like Camp Randall was right next to the Region Apartments. And
Oh, right
like
across from it, wasn't it?
right across the street, like I could walk there. And I was so upset that I never got to go to a game. Like I never got to go to any of the games, but like I don't know why I just didn't just like bite the bullet and just buy some tickets. But like that was something that, I just never got to experience, and now I wish I would have like more when I was in college because I stayed on that street for the entirety of my college career, and I just never went to a game for some reason. Maybe I was just too busy or just was always working because like when I was in college, I actually had five jobs at the same time. I don't know how I managed that. I had like five jobs at the same time. Like I worked in an office, at a lab during the day. I worked um at this I worked at this fundraising center at night, like raising like calling up like alumni trying to raise like money for scholarships and stuff. I had a job at the Daily Cardinal at a as a news editor, a copy editor. I had a job at this place called or no, I had a job with the student government where like they sent me out to uh different college clubs and stuff to see like what they were doing with like the grant money that they were being given. And I had another job online which was my favorite job. It was with Note Hall. Um, and I was like shopping around and marketing this opportunity they had where like you could take notes in class and like sell them online and stuff. Like so like I was busy, like I just had no time to like to like go to a game. But like I had like all of those jobs and like but I wish I would have like because that's something that I do kind of regret. But uh,
I don't think none of us went. I mean, I think I didn't even. I mean, because I love basketball, and I was close to that, and I think I went to. I don't even know if I went to any like one football game, one basketball, maybe a basketball game, and then I went to a hockey game. But it just never. And I think you got to be like. I think the consideration was that like in college, I was broke. I mean, those tickets weren't cheap, right? So. Um, I think that I got the hockey tickets were given to me because I got them for free, and then the football tickets I think were really cheap. The one that me and Bobby went to was because it was like a preseason or like some sort of a scrimmage game. Like it was like reasonable. I think we got the t tickets for like $20. But even that being said, I mean the stadium was still like packed out. It was like crazy.
Well, that was the day that I found out that Ryan was scared of heights.
Oh, dude. And you know
because
how
I
we
was in the
get
nosebleeds.
listen, let me explain
We
something
had
to you though.
nosebleed seats, and
That
Ryan
big
was walking
baby.
super slow.
No, 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 no. Let's tell it right. Yeah, and I'm not a heights person, but let's
All
tell
right,
it
go
right.
ahead. Go ahead.
Camp Randall had they redid the stadium. It was like a $100 million investment. I think prior year they were all bragging, oh we have a new facade and the new facilities and all this stuff, right? But that can't you can't change any structural dynamics, the concrete of it all, the way it was poured back whenever they built it. I don't know, 100 almost 100 years ago, right? Because they built that they built the basis for that structurally a long time ago, and then they just continued to renovate and build on and reinforce. But when you go up into the nosebleed section, I've never seen this. It's so dangerous. The steps are literally like this, like literally, it's like this. It's no rail, no railing, and it's so steep I could touch the front step like this. So I remember walking up the stairs and I'm like leaning. I'm like, if I fall back, this is going to be a catastrophe. And I'm looking at these dads and these people who weren't walking up. I remember seeing this guy. He had nachos right here and a thing of beers, and he's like running up the stairs. Oh, excuse me, go ahead. And he's like has his daughter holding on him. And let me do my Wisconsin. Come on, baby, let's go. Let's go. How about them? How about them Packers? So he's sitting there running up, and I'm like, how is he doing that? I'm trying to. You remember that? It
Just
was so
very
steep.
slowly.
It was so
You
steep.
tell
I'm like,
us.
man, I am not about to fall down here and hurt myself.
Yes,
It
I
was
remember.
it was the worst. No guards. It was almost like we went to you remember when we went to the Sphere in Vegas?
Yeah, it was the same. You
It
were
was the
acting the
same.
same
It
exact
was the
way there
same
too.
exact way. See, the difference with the Sphere in Vegas is a new facility, and it packs out. I mean, I don't know how many people it packs out. Maybe 30,000 people. It's a huge facility. But the Sphere in Vegas actually has a rail since it's a newer building. But they're doing it on a small footprint, so they can't make the stairs wide. They have to make them go up. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, God, I could touch the front step. I'm standing up, I can touch the front. That's just a bad sign to me. Unless I'm like, all right, I'm holding on to it, holding on to the side of the doggone thing, and then I finally get in my seat now. And I'm looking, I'm in amazement. I'm like, look at these dads. How about them Packers? Come on, Badgers. Let's go. Hey, honey, come on down. I saw one guy run down. He ran up, stopped,
Yeah, it
turned
was
back around.
running. Kids was running too,
He
up and
threw a
down.
piece of popcorn. He's like juggling popcorn and nachos. I'm amazed. I'm like, what's going on? Dad, I want another Twizzler. Oh, okay, go on up there with your mama. I'm like, what the heck? I was in amazement. And if you just see the people flowing, I'm like, I'm like, it's the
So
perfect.
it's like those shallow church steps.
Yeah, it's
Oh
like
God.
it's like the thing is, the only way I can explain it, it's like a perfect orchestra of like potential calamity being held together with like divine power. God was literally keeping these people from like crashing out because I'm like one misstep and it could be like bowling pins in this stadium and it's so steep, like it could be a real bad thing. And these people are running up and down and there's no guardrail. There's nothing to hold. It was crazy. It was crazy. But anyway,
So in other words, y'all go ahead, Dave.
No, I was going to say, I was going to go back to Justin and all of his jobs. I had forwarded you guys a skit from In Living Colors called Hey Man, and it's about
Oh yeah,
the
I remember.
Jamaicans and having all of their jobs, and they coming in and bragging about what they did on all of these jobs. So just a
That's
side
Justin for
note.
real. The
Just a
I
side
mean, like
jobs.
I was like Ryan said, like when you broke, like you gotta get your you gotta get your money up in college.
Hey
I mean,
man, well,
like
you know what? When I was in college, here's a memory for you. $20 was like gold. I mean, $20 would last me a month in college. And your Uncle Kenny would send me, a $20 bill here and there. And it was like, man, I'd go to the movies, get something to eat a couple days a week, and have something left over in my pocket. You know, one day I was going to class One day I was going to class and I see something on the ground and it looked like a wallet. So I picked it up and it was a wallet. And I'm like, okay, I didn't have a conscience back then. I said, if there's any ID in there, I mean, it might not go anywhere, but nothing. It was just loaded with $375. It was just there. I'm like, okay, me, Hillary, Cleo, and EJ are gonna eat good for about 2 months. That's what we did. Money was just, believe me, $20 was like gold, but you had to have something in your pocket. I don't care if you're on scholarship or not. You had to have something in your pocket, just in case you had to call home, catch a bus, a cab somewhere, get something to eat somewhere, buy some toothpaste. It was just, college is not easy, and for a lot of folks, it's even more difficult now. I can't imagine having to go to college now and paying the tuition. You'd have to mortgage a house.
Mhm.
it's so
It's,
expensive. It's
it's
so
crazy.
it's so expensive. Even I mean, it's just expensive all the way around. It's public universities are now. I mean, you question they were supposed to be kind of like for the people, and they become such a vehicle of profit. They're for-profit businesses now at this point. Public universities too, and they always do the tuition increases over the summertime when people are out because you're supposed to have like a quorum. You'd be able to hold a town hall for the students. And they do it when the students are gone, so it kind of goes under the radar, and they just do the adjustment then steadily rising, unfortunately.
being on scholarship, here's another thing for you. Players now, they get paid for endorsements.
Hmm.
So, I mean, in the NCAA back then, if you got paid for anything, you were kicked out and gone in a hot minute. But now these guys get paid for endorsements, and now every now and then I see the Houston Cougars. They get commercials every now and then from HEB and those sponsors, and they get paid for that.
Mhm.
They get paid. I don't know how much, but they get paid for that endorsement. And now the women, um, Juju Watkins, these women are getting paid for all of these commercials that they do, coming out. And what's her name? What's the I can't think of her name, the big time girl that came out of college. She's pro now. Both of them are pro.
Caitlin
Caitlin,
Clark,
Caitlin, probably. Caitlin Clark.
Angel
Caitlin Clark
Reese.
and Angel Reese.
Angel
Angel
Reese.
Reese.
Mhm.
Those endorsements, man, coming out of college were big. And they were getting paid, you know. And I mean, hey, if I got paid to do a commercial, I can remember just doing an interview, when I was in college on the network. And it was like, the pros got paid for their interviews on networks. And I remember they would always give the pros. It was a shoe store that sponsored it. It's called Nunbush Shoe Store in Milwaukee. And they would always pay the players with shoes. Go figure that out. They'd give them, a gift certificate for shoes at Nunbush. They did the commercial and all this stuff. And you talking high-end shoes, but man, you got to have every dime on the planet sometimes when it's going to school with these kids nowadays.
You got to have it set up. I mean, I agree with them getting paid because, like, I used to always feel like the likeness they would have the likeness and their imagery. The schools were profiting all of this money,
Right.
and the coaches are getting paid astronomical amounts of money, right? And that's fine. I'm not opposed. Like, if you're going to be a millionaire, but you're using, the school is benefiting off of these players, and I think like like a lot of those players would get these little stipends, but they have their jerseys being sold. They're on video games, and their likenesses and their images are owned by the school, and the school just gets the sole benefit. They may throw the player, some free tuition and put a couple grand in his pocket, and he has more money, like a lot more money than the average student. But they're making hundreds of millions of dollars off of these guys. So the stuff that they're doing now, I agree with the NIL, and there's like not a whole like they can just benefit off of their likeness. And that was the thing, because I think a lot of stuff was happening behind that. It's a lot more fair because it's hard. I mean, and if I'm providing the production for that will to keep going of generation of like wealth for the sports team and for the universities. I should be a part of that. It's only fair.
Looking at the Cougars. Yeah, I look at the Cougars because I watch them, and all of these guys, it's two or three pros coming out of there every year, and all of the, like I said, the HEBs and a lot of the, local uh, companies and things like that that sponsor them, they should pay them. They should pay them because they're using them.
Mhm.
They're using these guys. So I mean, they should get something. So
Mhm. Yeah.
I got a few more quick stories to tell y'all. The first one is really about making sure you advocate for yourself, right? So we talked about Ryan and Justin going to People Program, the scholarship that at the time, because People Program I don't think existed when I was first applying for school, and so there was a scholarship called the Chancellors, and and then there was another one called Powers Nap. And I applied for the chancellor's one and knew that I met all of the criteria and exceeded, in my opinion, uh, but was rejected initially. I don't know if I ever told y'all that. So I was rejected initially, and here I am, 18 years old, and I could have said, okay, well, I'm just gonna not have that scholarship, knowing that I had a super solid application and had everything. I was the type of person that I know they were looking for. Um, I could have just walked away, but I didn't. I remember calling up and talking to somebody and
Mhm.
saying just that, like, this is my GPA and my extracurriculars, and this is what I plan on doing in college, and um, this is what you be getting when, if you allow me in your scholarship, right? I said that. And they kind of, I remember him kind of like chuckling a little bit on the other line, like, oh, who's this kid? Arrogant, probably thinking that. I'm like, no, I'm not arrogant. I know what I bring.
Right.
And so I get a call from the head of that scholarship program. Her name is Marcia Lee. And so um uh rest in peace. All right, so she called me and she was like, is this Jeffrey? I said, yeah, this is Jeffrey. She said, oh, this is Miss Lee, Miss Marcia Lee, and I called to inform you. She was saying it like that too. I called to inform you that you got into the program. I said, oh, okay, good, thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Uh, and that was it, right? And I could tell I felt like some energy from her on the phone. So then I go to the campus for the first time. We had his first meeting and I walk in, it's a bunch of other kids from all over in this program. And I walk in, and then this lady looks at me from across the room and says, "Are you Mr. Walker?" Like that. I said, I had never seen her before. And she just knew that that was me when I walked in. And I walked over there and talked to her and I thanked her and then she rode me so hard those first couple of years. Every meeting that I missed, even though I felt like I had some good excuses for missing it. Like Miss Lee, I'm at class. I'm trying to build this program for class. I gotta be in the computer lab. I gotta be in the library, blah, blah, blah. No, you need to be at this meeting right now and you late. Right? She would call.
Oh God.
We had the old we had the landlines in our dorm room. She would call my dorm room and, and fuss at me for about 30 minutes and then call me into her office, which was like big. It was at the chancellor's building and it was big and dark and scary looking. And I walked in her office and she was like, this is not just a scholarship for your tuition. This is a program, and you got to treat it as such. And right, so she was riding me hard, right? And it didn't matter what I said. If it was like, oh yeah, well look at my GPA, Miss Lee. You got it's people in here that's not necessarily doing all of this, and I got to do this and that. She didn't want to hear it, right? So I complied. I had to keep my scholarship, and so years go by, and now I'm in year 5, and I'm a veteran of that program, and I finish. And I walk across the stage and I see Mama and Daddy and all of y'all in the audience. You remember this? And I walk across the stage, I get my degree, and then at the bottom of the steps, while I'm walking down, is Miss Marcia Lee. Big old arms, open wide, gave me the biggest hug, came and talked to Mama and Daddy. Oh yeah, Jeffrey was so good in our program, and all of this stuff talking me up. I'm thinking to myself like, you didn't like
She
me
was
this whole
kicking your
time.
way.
Do you think it was like an old school prior generation version of tough love? Her
I
looking
think
and
that's what it.
saying
Yeah.
like, you know what? He's from my heritage and from my culture. I'm gonna burn him up, but I see
Mm.
greatness in him. He may not understand
She
because
saw, yes, I think that right away, um, just from that first phone call that we had.
Mhm.
Right. I think that she saw that I was one to fight for what I felt was right and advocate for myself.
Right.
She, I believe, saw a lot of potential and let me know, and this is true to this day, right? That it's not only about being at the library, head in the book, making sure that you get your grades, whatever it is, because don't nobody care about your grades after you get that degree. What they care about is what type of program were you in, what kind of connections did you make, what kind, it's like it was I think what she was trying to teach me was that there's more to college, the college experience than just passing the class.
Well
It
rounded
also
is
has to do with making those lifelong connections and setting yourself up for a career afterwards. So I did learn quite a bit through that tough love from Miss Lee, but she definitely she gave me a time. Um, that was one story. Another one, I remember having a birthday party my senior year, and I had a piñata at my birthday party. Do you remember this, Ryan? I don't know
Mhm.
if you remember
Oh
this.
yeah, I think
Remember this?
I helped throw the
Yeah,
party. I think
yeah. So that was a lot of
I
fun.
helped plan it, if I'm not mistaken.
Uh-huh. I remember that. I remember living above a bar. I don't know if y'all knew this or not.
Oh, your freshman, first like or summer. Wasn't it the
It
summer?
was over the summer, and it was maybe my after my junior year. I lived in an apartment above a bar, right on State Street, or right on what's that street next to it? Langdon.
Langdon.
Right on Langdon, and I couldn't get no kind of sleep. I don't know how somebody could live above a bar, especially on a street that is frat. It's like frat row. It's a fraternity houses all as far as you can look on that street, and I subletted that apartment for my buddy at the time. Uh, so it was a good time. It's just that I couldn't get no kind of sleep, and I don't know if I got nothing done that summer, but I did pass that one class. Of,
Man, I
of
remember that place
Yeah.
being super old. It was like a super old building, and it was like real tight with this old crank elevator sort of contraption. I didn't know how people moved in there. I remember it being real small. I'm like, the furniture, you got to move in. The furniture has to be in place. In place. It was real tight.
Yeah.
It was.
Moving Bobby, I'll just touch on this briefly. Bobby's old girlfriend into an apartment, and her room, it had a hornet's nest in it.
Jeez.
Oh God.
Ooh,
I'm like, holy cow. Do you remember that?
yes, I remember. So I remember that, and I got another one. You go ahead. I got one that's
Ooh,
kind of similar to that too.
man, we moved this girl into there, and I'm like, I got stung. I think I got stung.
Did you get started, man?
There was a hornet's nest in this doggone bedroom. I'm like, holy cow. Don't move in here. But
It
it was
was
good.
Oh,
ridiculous.
that reminds me. Like I remember, like it was it wasn't a big one, but like I remember one time, like a mouse got in my apartment once.
Oh,
Like,
hell. Woo,
yeah,
Lord, no. Lord,
Oh,
no.
I
like
got.
a
Yeah, go
mouse
ahead.
got caught. Like I had to trap it with like a sticky mouse trap.
Mm-mm.
Like,
No, sir. No,
I
sir.
got the
yeah.
same story, but mine is not just one.
No, sir.
All
Mm-mm.
right, let me tell you this real quick.
No,
I
sir.
get to Whitty freshman year, and we have we both me and my roommate. Y'all remember Andy, right?
Mhm.
We had on either side of the room, we had our beds lofted, right? So we had our beds lofted above our desks. It had them lofted so high that if you laying down, you could touch the ceiling like this if you put your hand up. Okay. So one day, Andy would buy bread. Oh, by the way, I just thought about this. Y'all remember? I don't know if y'all remember. Daddy remember. I used to have a freezer in there illegally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, the deep freezer,
It's
the little
scandalous.
small. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
it wasn't
fruit
nothing
of-
but another piece of furniture that I covered up.
Oh yeah, we had to put a blanket on there, otherwise we couldn't get it in there. We was yeah, smuggling that freezer in there
Yeah.
Every
every
year.
semester. We had all the pizzas and all that stuff in there. Okay, and a air fryer. We had some stuff in that dorm room. Anyway, Andy would buy a loaf of bread and he would put it down underneath his desk, right? And so one day,
On the ground?
yeah, he had it on. I think he had it on the ground initially,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
can't do that.
Well, I mean, he wasn't thinking of nothing. It's in the package or whatever, right? Okay. Anyway, he put it on the ground. I remember coming home from school from class, and he's at his desk, and he's like, "Oh, Jeff, I'm about to make a peanut butter and jelly, something like that." And he grabbed his bag. It had the biggest hole eaten out of the loaf of bread. He's like, "What the hell? What is this?"
Mhm.
And I said, "Is there a mouse in here?" right? Like that. Oh, it can't be nothing but what? Who ate the bread then, right? So it was that type of back and forth. And so he bought another loaf of bread the next day, put it in the same type of spot so that we could make sure. Sure enough, exact same thing happened, right? His dad or his sister lived there at the time, and his dad was up there all the time. And so I remember he bought some traps, and Andy set the traps, and he put like I had never seen no mice or rats or nothing like that. So I'm thinking cartoons that you put a piece of cheese on the rat trap. He was like, no, you put peanut butter on
Peanut
it.
Oh,
butter.
So you put peanut
Hmm.
butter on this rat trap, on this mouse trap, set a couple of them. The next day, we catching them, right? And it's not
Catching
just one,
them.
Justin. Yes, we caught over the period of a week. We must have caught like 4 or 5 of them things.
Yeah, I would have been.
Jeez.
Man, I
Oh,
would have been
And I'm
so
like,
fast out of that room. I'd have been gone. First one, I
like
got.
yes.
I only had one mouse in
I would have
there.
been
Like,
gone. I'm out.
But where am I gonna
5?
go? All of that stuff, like there was
I would have
nothing,
been in a
nowhere for me to
totally.
go.
I would
Uh,
have been in a different room.
oh, I couldn't stand, dude. I couldn't
I
stand
would
it.
have transferred to salary or like I would have did something. I would have went because you got to think it's all the same program. Just transfer me to the. I would have had a duffel
No,
bag, my stuff.
looking
I would
back,
have
I
been
should
gone.
have. I
I
felt
would have
so
been gone.
sick about that,
I would have
and
been
for
gone,
a
man.
whole like week, I couldn't sleep right. And then all of a sudden, nothing was happening. But for a while, it didn't feel even. And I think weirdly because we slept so high up, that I'm thinking, oh well, if it's something on the floor, it ain't gonna get me. Things can climb too. But
yeah.
oh yeah.
but anyway, that's I'm gonna leave it on a good note. Um, that's probably the reason why we had to deal with these mice. The food in Madison, Wisconsin, at that on that campus was, thinking back, delicious.
It was,
The
Mhm.
food was
especially at the
so good
Commons.
there.
At the Commons, it was
At,
like
at Gordon
at
Commons,
Gordon
at
Commons, dude.
South,
And
at
you could, and
Memorial
here,
Union,
and here's the thing. I remember
all of that.
Me and Carlos. It was so bad because Carlos was at Whitty.
Mhm.
Me and Carlos would study. It'll be late, and we cramming for exams. It's like midnight. He's like, man, I'm hungry. The food was cheap and it was good. It's like, man, we gonna order this pizza. It's $4, and it'll be a large, and you can get all the toppings on it, and you can order it. You can just order it over the phone, I think. And we had like a little menu. It would be you can get a big 16-inch pizza, $4 or $5, with like 30 wings for another $5. And it'd be all like it was something crazy like that. And then we would be up there with soda, so we would spend maybe $15, 30 wings, a big pizza, a couple of Coca-Colas, and a couple of brothers up there with these big books studying with coffee and stuff, and we would just go to work, and it wouldn't cost no money, and we'll split it. Each of us would put in 750.
They definitely did it right, and the food on State Street was good
The
too.
food on State Street was
Mhm.
hidden, but then I'm just thinking the reason I mean I ended up gaining any weight because I was bird chested, and before you know it, I'm all stocky. It was because of that.
That freshman 15 is real.
you
You
know,
gotta watch that.
Call that the freshman 20.
yeah, there you go. It was the
You know,
freshman
you get that
20%.
20 pounds on you, boy.
Mhm.
It's hard to get rid of it in college because you're steadily eating and things are steadily coming at you.
Hmm.
You know, it was, I tell you, man, pizza, anything like that is just fattening. And if you can't work it off by playing sports or something like that, that you're gonna come home in a husky pair of Sears pants. Huskies.
All right, guys. Anything else that we miss? We good?
I think we're good.
Yeah.
It was good
Good.
to think back on those days.
Oh yeah.
A
Oh,
long time ago now, but a
Yeah.
bright past and a brighter future, and the Packers are gonna win today, and then three more, and we gonna be holding the Super Bowl championship in
yeah.
in uh in February.
I can hear the
Let's go
music.
Pack.
With that,
Da-na-na, da-na-na-na. Go,
Go,
Pack,
Pack.
Go, Pack,
go.
go.
Da-na-na, da-na-na-na. Go,
Go,
Pack,
Pack.
go. Let's
Go.
go, Jordan Love. Let's take it to the house, baby. We on there. Chicago Bears can't do nothing with us, right, Bear? Hur, hur, hur. Let's go, baby.
All right,
Cheese
y'all. Well,
heads
great.
coming.
Um, Thanks for listening, everybody, and have a blessed day. Like, subscribe, share, comment, all of that stuff. And we'll catch you on the next Walker Roundtable.
All right. God bless.
Peace.
Take care.